So we were talking about a product called Sales Cloud till now, right? In the class, the Sales Cloud is a software from Salesforce, and right now by default, we talk when we talk about Salesforce as a platform wherein you can write code and you create things, right? So this platform is also sold by Salesforce as a product. So it is also called App Cloud. Yeah. Similarly, Sales Cloud is also a software which is built in platform and App Cloud, and this has some other features, other standard objects. Like similarly, we have the Service Cloud. Similarly, we have products like Experience Cloud. Previously, it was known as Community Cloud. And similarly, and many more. So there are products after products and products after Marketing Cloud. So these are all different softwares. There can be other products like Marketing Commerce Cloud, and so on. There are many. Okay. So we'll stick our energies in these things. Experience Cloud probably will not cover. So we will only talk about the first three. Yeah. So this we already talked about it. The core platform. When we talk about the core platform, is the platform on which you can build things. So it gives you some standard objects like account, contact. It gives you that. What Sales Cloud gives? Sales Cloud gives, in addition to account or contact, it gives you opportunity. Account and contact is already there if you build the platform. Similarly, opportunity and lead objects. So there are a lot of features, right? In opportunity lead object, it also gives you a quote object. It also gives you a order object. Yeah, these are the standard objects Sales Cloud gives on top of just basic account and contact. Similarly, Sales Cloud also gives a case object. Service Cloud is built completely on case. Yeah, so not only Service Cloud does not give you, if you purchase Service Cloud, it does not give you opportunity and lead and quote and order. It straight away works on case. Similarly, yeah. So there are some default objects which comes outside. Experience Cloud, it does not give you any standard objects. It can expose these object data in basically to external people. External people means your customers. Here, everything, the person who has bought Salesforce, like who has bought Salesforce? The buyer or the seller side?
Buyer side.
Buyer will not purchase Salesforce, right? It's a customer relationship management tool. So who has purchased it? Who needs a customer management?
Client.
Client is a vector. Client for whom?
Yeah, like the client that has customers.
Yeah. So no, I'm telling that who will buy the Salesforce?
Like the companies will buy like a business.
That company is a buyer or a seller?
Seller.
Sorry, seller.
It's a seller, absolutely. So we have a seller company and we have a buyer company. So where are we storing the seller side? Seller is the person who is purchasing Salesforce. Buyer does not need Salesforce. The buyer is the customer of the seller, right? Important. Similarly, so where do we store the customer information? The buyer will purchase Salesforce, right? Because they need a customer management system, right? And buyers are the customers, isn't it? The seller will purchase Salesforce and they will have the CRM for customer management, right? So will they purchase now Which of these products? The Salesforce has so many products. So buyer, most probably, if the seller is basically working on sales process, he will work on selling to buyers and how to sell, do the whole process of selling, managing your selling process. In that case, they will purchase a sales license. If they want to manage the service process with its customers, but service process means after the selling has been done, then the customers comes back with their problems, right, on that products. Just base diya to it's not that simple, right? The customer will ask for warranties. Customer means the seller's customer I'm talking about, right? So seller's customer will ask for warranties and so on, isn't it? So what happens is now, if this selling the service process needs to be done by the buyer, then buyer will go for a service license, isn't it? So CRM for some people would be just sales cloud for some sellers. For CRM for some sellers will be both service cloud and sales cloud. For some sellers, it will be only service cloud. Maybe they are doing sales in another different CRM. Nobody knows, right? A seller can purchase as many softwares he wants. He can do sell process in Salesforce. He can do service process in Salesforce. He can do both, right? So annotation that came. Yeah. So sales process similarly. So how, where is the seller storing the information of their customers? Sale, he will be storing in objects. That objects will be account. Account will store buyers' companies. Company information, right? That will go to account. Contact. Contact means employees of the buyers. Yeah. This is a company. Let's give an example. Let's seller is Reebok and buyer is TCS. No, let's not bring TCS here. Let's bring Reebok to is selling to any like government of India. GUI. Reebok is selling some shoes for a marathon to government of India, right? They both are companies. Reebok is the seller, and the government of India is the buyer, right? So Reebok will purchase Salesforce. Probably if they want to manage the sales process in Salesforce, then they will go for Sales Cloud license. And where are they going to store the government of India details? Government of India details will become an account, one record, one account. GUI account will be created in Salesforce, right? Contact means all the government officials who are working for that deal, right, will be added as contacts, right? How will that work? Are you getting the point, by the way? Let me know if you're not following up. It's very critical to understand business process. So what will happen? You will create an account, business account. and you will say Government of India. These fields are many of these fields are custom fields. Don't worry about it. Yeah, so Government of India will become the account, right? And the contacts will be different people who are government employees who are basically working for that deal, right? And what would be the deal? Maybe this month's order for Government of India, new opportunity. You say January shoes. This is the order. Right? I want to go for 100 shoes, or I've been selling 100 shoes to my to Government of India. So this is the opportunity wherein I add the product, which product I want to add. Like this can be shoes, but yeah, think this is a shoe. I choose that and I give quantities for that, right? What, how many? 100 shoes I'm selling. That's it. Yeah, and then I negotiate with them and finally close it. If I want to do kind of a quotation process, then I have to switch on the quotations, and I can mark this as a close or a one, and maybe it's a one deal. So that would be the whole sales process, right? So how this sales work. Now, moving out after this deal has been done, the Government of India comes back and asks you, uh, 10 of those shoes are bad. Those don't have a sole, or the sole has gone off, or like, yeah, and you have to provide me a warranty support. Where will you manage that? For that, case comes into picture. So I have to switch my app to service now. You see, now the app is sales. I go to service now. Now the service app is available in Sales Cloud license itself, but there are many features which would be needed for a full-blown service instance. What would be the features? Like a one-screen console, because service people needs to work very fast, so they cannot go hop into tabs. This is a tabular approach, right? So many tabs. They go, the people who are working on sales, they are like call center people, right? They will attend calls and they are in huge rush. So this kind of application, this tabular application, is not very like performance friendly. For that, they have to go and use a console. So you go to service console. Here you get all together in one screen. So that's how all these things, you can jump into things in one screen and do everything in one place. So this comes here with the service cloud license. Secondly, it comes is assignment rule, which we will talk today. What are those? Then we will have AutoResponse rule. Then we have escalation rules. Then we have milestones. People who are working from in support project, they know many of these. Milestones are needed for SLAs. You are aware of the SLAs, right? Service agreements. Like if a customer raises a ticket, immediately you have to give a resolution based on the priority of the ticket. Maybe the top one, P1 priority would be like P1 would be like 4 hours resolution. P2 would be like 1 day. Yeah, and similarly. So you have to check that via tracking, and like if the SLAs is going past, you have to escalate it before it goes past. Otherwise, there might be a breach of contract, and customer might sue this seller, right? Right? Where is TCS coming into picture? Where are you working? You are in the buyer side or the seller side?
side.
work in Salesforce project, right? Which side will you be working from?
Seller.
Yes, of course. So seller is
Service.
basically Reebok, like Reebok. Reebok does not need an IT wing, and Reebok does not need to hire IT professionals, right? Makes no sense. Reebok is selling shoes and attire and material. They don't want to invest on IT infrastructure and so on. So what will they do? The seller will have, sorry. The seller basically will insert a vendor partner, IT company, and basically the seller has business users, right? So we have users. So in SL, the Reebok sales has purchased Salesforce, and Salesforce has given them license. Where are we storing the employees of sellers? Sellers are these seller employees are the users of the application. Yeah. So there can be business users, and there can be, they will give some license to TCS. Those would be contractors. Those will be technical users. These will be in Salesforce terms administrators, system administrators. System administrators can be functional people or who can change Salesforce or modify Salesforce. You understand what is TCS role? So TCS is working on behalf of the seller company. So we are just behaving like this side. We are here on the buyer side. If I remove this, got it? So we are partner of the seller, and buyer is the customer for the seller. Okay. So now let's talk about this product called Service Cloud. As we are already inside it, there are many examples, many things which you can set up here. Before we go to object, there are some other things, escalation rule, and you have to understand what needs to be done here. So how will the seller, buyer raise tickets or problems that for the products, these problems has happened? How do I resolve it? So buyer, maybe you will give a call to a business user. And what kind of business user is that? We can call it a service representative. This is in the buyer seller side. Who will give a contact? Invariably any of the employees, right? So there will be a contact. A contact is giving a call to a service rep. Service rep will receive the call and will create a case. Let's see that. So if I am going there, I will create a case. This guy called. Who called? I will search the contact. I will probably give Government of India. This contact from Government of India called, and I can create a new case and case origin. You see, these are the possible ways in which a customer can make a contact, right? Or reach out to us, to the seller, by phone, by email, by web, right? 3 options only. There can be other channels like social media right now, so that could be part of it anyway. But these are the most popular ways of doing it. So maybe let's see the phone process. So he called up, and we save the information. So a case is created, and in case probably we have to put all the details like shoes, 10 shoes are corrupt, 10 shoes missing, maybe it has not gone in, right? In that something counting has gone wrong, 10 shoes are missing. 10 shoes missing in package. Yeah. So this gives an opportunity to create a details of a case, and then basically I put all that is detailed and that needs to be like worked on, right? So, and there can be multiple people who are working on that, right? On this case, so I can post, maybe I will mention some people, like, please check the shipping process. So I have mentioned somebody to work on it, right? And this, on this case, right? So I can of course work with multiple people, and I have many information which I am already seeing, right? And I can attach more files, or I can, whatever is required, and I can track a course history. And finally, when I'm done, I will edit and probably mark this as working when I'm working on this, right? Or if I need my managers to look at it, it needs to be escalated, I can go ahead and escalate that. Yeah. So all sorts of these things can be done on a case till a case is closed. Yes. Finally, this is the whole process. What will happen if the customer wants to reach out through web? So there is a website which I have, and customer does not want to call. Customer wants to, like, take care of that, like raise the ticket through web portal which the company has. So maybe there is a Reebok.com, something of that sort. The customer will go to Reebok site, Reebok.com. Herein, sometimes I can raise problems. I don't know where it is there, but order tracker, you see, there are many things are there, right? So I can go and raise some problems, maybe something like this, support, right? So return and exchange policy, you see, many things, shipping details, so shoulder cutter, many things. Maybe they contact us, you see, and maybe ordering a payment, they just want to uh, see, there can be there can be a form which they want to fill up, and then basically you want to talk about their problems. I don't know where it is exactly, but there can be usually a form is given wherein they can put up details about their problems, and that becomes automatically a case in Salesforce. How will that work? Because that site is not in Salesforce, right? What is integration? How that integration will work? So we have something called a feature called web to case. Similarly, there is another feature called email to case. These are automatic ways in which a case will be created in Salesforce if the customer wants to raise a case from the portal or directly to mailing somebody. Yeah, these are advanced features, so we'll not get into details, but these features needs to be very clear to you. So I will go to Salesforce once again. So if I go to setup, I can search with web to case. You see, similarly, there is a web to lead also. That is also possible. Web to case, when you go, what happens is that we enable web to case. Sometimes you need to put some auto response email also when somebody raises a ticket. So immediately they get a response that yeah, your auto response email, this ticket has been logged or the case has been logged in our system, right? And we can also have reCAPTCHA so that any robot cannot misuse it. So that can also happen. I don't know if you have worked on CAPTCHA or reCAPTCHA. This make sure that no bot is doing that form filling. Right? It's a pure human doing that. So you can have some pictures. They will say, identify where is the bus in many of these pictures. Those are things. So that is smart way of validating whether that's a human doing that. Anyway, so we can enable, and whenever we enable, there is a web to case generator. When you use a web to case generator, this will, let's take out the reCAPTCHA first, and this can be your site, rebo.com and so on. And you do a generate, immediately then HTML is basically created for you. This HTML, you will send it to the administrator of that portal. They will put it in their HTML. And whenever they put it there, and anybody using that form, when it is saved, it's automatically will become a case in Salesforce. See, so a simple integration between that portal and this. So this HTML, when they are putting it into their site, any site, it can be any site, it will automatically create cases in Salesforce. Similarly, there is also a feature called email to case. Email to case are of two kinds. One is if you want to send a mail directly to an email ID, which is a Salesforce generated email ID. In that case, you can use on-demand email to case. Yeah. So what you can do is that email ID you generate in Salesforce, you give it to your end customers, and the customers can send a mail on that email ID. Immediately, that will become a case. But sometimes what happens is your email server, every company will have a separate email server. Like they will have something like a Outlook, right? And your domain is set up there and so on. So you don't want people sending mail on a Salesforce email. It'll go via that routing, right? That mail will first come to your Outlook, and then basically that should become a case in Salesforce. So that is a little more complicated setup. We call this email to case. On-demand email to case is completely entirely Salesforce. Normal email to case will be you will having to work with a email to case agent that will take care that your outbox or your whatever is your mailing server. There is a connection between Salesforce and that mailing server. Any questions so far, guys? Okay. So what now is that when you create a automatic case from web or email, right? What happens is that it is not created by somebody, right? If I am creating a case in Salesforce or a agent is creating a case in Salesforce, what happens? In that case, there is the person who is creating the case becomes the automatic owner, right? Case owner. He's working on it immediately, right? When the customer is calling. But in web and email, the customer and the agents are disconnected completely. So who will become the owner?
Huh?
So I do not know how this owner will be selected, right? So there are many different ways of doing it. One of the ways is assignment rules. Can you put yourself on mute if you're not speaking? The first part is assignment rules. What is assignment rule? Assignment rule is a step-by-step process in which I can go forward and assign to different people. Like maybe there can be different fields on that form which is getting filled up. So it might so happen that I will create, if I see the billing country as USA, then and the SLA is equal to gold platinum, then what will I will assign to this user. If there is some other company, then I will assign to some other user. If it is some other country, so it will go and parse one by one. Wherever it has got the condition correct, it will assign it to that person. Yeah. And after assigning everybody, if still there is not a possibility to assign, then there is a default case owner. Yeah. In support setting, you will have a default case owner. You can choose any user there. So what will happen is that if after all those assignment rules getting parsed, still I am not finding a case owner, then this will go to this default case owner. Please make sure if somebody is assigned as default case owner, you cannot deactivate that user. Okay, this is a very critical thing to remember. If any user is assigned as a default case owner, you cannot deactivate that user till you change this case owner. Okay, and that makes sense, right? Otherwise, who will work on those cases if it's deactivated? So similarly, email to case also works in the same way. If there is a email to case, this assignment rule will kick off, and assignment rule will go through one by one and see all the conditions, and it will then complete it. Okay. When these cases are deposited at this point, when the we have to inform the customer, the end customer, right, that their case is registered correctly, because otherwise they will never know what has happened. So I will say these there will be response rules which I can create. So for that you need auto response rules. And here also you can create rule entries one by one with previous conditions, whom to send mails, and what will be the email template. Yeah. There is another thing called escalation, which we also talked about, right? So what happens is that if there is a breach of SLA, at that point you can create some rules like when the account is equal to and load pattern and priority equals high, at that point you automatically escalate that. Yeah, you can have different conditions one by one. You can also set escalation rule based on the timing, like how long has this been open. If it is already 3 days, you can escalate it, right? So many rule conditions you can do that, and you can escalate that rule to appropriate people. Appropriate people means the most probably the owner's manager and so on. So these are the 3 different rules which you can have in Service Cloud, which you basically work on, and that gives a complete like customer servicing that is needed, so that the customer can come back to you with their problems. Come back to you means come back to the seller, and now you as a TCS basically are working on behalf of the seller. So the customer for seller will become a end customer for you. In TCS terms, our customer is basically the seller. right? We will have a contract with that seller, but seller will have a contract with his end customers. For us in order to understand it carefully or understand it differently, what we do, this is I am talking about from CTS point of view. For TCS point of view, the seller is our customer because we are selling our service to customers, right? And this buyer is called end customer for us, right? Because we are selling services to this customer, this seller customer, and seller is selling his goods and services to another customer and a buyer. So for us, this customer will be called end customer. Here, these terms are very clear now to you guys. It is very important because these terminologies you will hear when you work in projects. Because every time you are talking about our client, our customer, this is basically a buyer, or we are talking about. Yeah, but basically this buyer, the seller is I'm talking about. This seller is doing business with multiple people. So managing them is our job. So whenever we are in contract with the seller company, we become administrators and we become employees or like employees of the seller side, and the end customer basically needs to be managed on behalf of the seller, and there will be business users doing that job, but we will be changing the software so that these business users can use it effectively and provide a very good experience for our end customers. Correct? Because end customer does not know whether TCS is working or not. They are purchasing it from Reebok, and they will bombard Reebok if there is a problem. Right? All clear, guys? We'll keep this. Yeah.
One thing is there. When a end customer means is not filling up any form, just he's emailing that this is the problem. Then how into an automatic case generation, how the subject of the case will be recognized?
That would be the subject of the email. Very good question.
Okay.
And if there are attachment, that is also attached in the case automatically. It's quite advanced topics, and there is, but right now at this level, I don't want to get into that. But don't want to bombard you. But gradually, if you're working on email to case, and there's a lot of setup to do there. So email to case or web to case. But right now, at least conceptually, I want you to understand this because this will be important for your certifications and so on, the first level certifications. So these are the features which is already there out of box in Salesforce. You don't have to write a single line of code for that. Yeah, just configurations, everything till now, whatever say using. So understanding Salesforce out of box, which is very, very critical before you write a single line of code. That is why I'm saying every developer needs to be an admin first. Then only they can go and write good code, because many times you will start writing a code, probably that code is a default out of box feature. And then that is a bad code you have written. Yeah. So if you do not have any further queries, we'll close the session for today. I kept it small. And this is the introduction for you to the Service Cloud part or the service process part. Yeah. This is all you need for your like admin certification if you are going for that. Okay, guys. I will post this recording into YouTube very soon and supply you the link. If you have no further queries, have a very nice weekend.
Thanks. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Animesh. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.